All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Happy Monday to all of you. We are very excited to bring to you the first session in a week-long virtual schedule for ALYFE Connect, our first ever digital-only event. We are very excited to kick the week off this morning with a very, very good guest speaker, Kit Mah, our certified fitness instructor and nutrition and medicine specialist, who delivers results to his clients, not just in terms of physical transformation, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as well. His expertise includes application of evidence-based methods in the following areas: fat loss, muscle growth, personalized eating, nutrition, and lifestyle planning for optimum and peak performance. Kit has a very interesting and very inspiring story to tell us, which we are very much looking forward to him sharing with us this morning. So without further ado, we would like to introduce you to Kit Mah, please. Welcome, Kit. Kit, I think your mic might be on mute. Can you hear us?
Right. Yes, guys. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Kit. Everyone's doing? How are you, Jacob?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Very well, thank you. I'm actually, I must admit, getting quite comfortable with this lockdown period. I've got used to it by now. How are you doing over there?
So far, so good. I mean, it's Monday. I'm still keeping track of the day, and to be honestly, in terms of my schedule, there's not much difference. But it's slightly better during this MCO because I get to actually sleep early, and I think the fact that a lot of things are closed earlier allows me to actually sleep earlier as well. That's actually a great thing. So I feel really good in terms of health-wise. And I think that it's something that all of us can actually aspire and aim to achieve as well during this period of the MCO. Don't you agree, Jacob?
Yeah, I found the same thing. I found that although it's obviously very difficult to get out the house and exercise as much as you like, I think that being here has helped me to strike up a routine. As long as you stay disciplined and you try to stick to regular working hours and you build a routine around that, I found that the time that you save commuting, for example, it's amazing how much time we spend on the move without realizing it. And so being able to spend that time at home now, I think, has allowed me to plan my meals better, has allowed me to take time to cook and learn new recipes. And also because you have to limit and regulate the time you spend out the house when you go for shopping trips, for example. You find that I think it's much more efficient. I go and I get one big shop, which I have to plan out for like a few days. So rather than always just snacking on the go or buying just random things here and there, and avoiding fast food and things like that, I found. So I've been able to come up with quite a good and balanced routine, I think, myself.
Precisely, and that's why I think when I talked to Andy, he asked me what topic I would like to share to the audience here, and I think we can definitely start off with something very relevant to everybody. And like what you say, Jacob, is about choosing the right kinds of food in this period of time, and it's something that we will be able to do it because, number one, whatever tips I'm going to share throughout this session, it's something that I've been doing for many years now. It's given me great results, and I think it's the perfect time to do it because all of this food I get is all from food shops that is still selling them. It's rightly available right now, and there is like a lot of stock still. So it's all good kind of things that are good kind of habits that you want to build throughout this period. You don't have access to a lot of things. A lot of dessert shops are closed and not open. So it's a great time to actually put a bit more discipline and know all these things and know how to eat and how to cope with all these binging and craving issues. Then when the moment MCO is lifted, I think that everyone will be in a very good state, at least in terms of nutritional wise. And the next thing is they want to do is probably get a training program in by going to the gym or whatever. Yeah, I know you can't go to the gym, but I'm sure like yourself, Jacob, you're looking very fit as well. You do some body weight workouts or whatsoever.
Yeah. Again, in a weird way, because I have my Apple Watch, so I can track my calories, and I'm very lucky that I have a treadmill in my apartment, and actually I found that I'm burning more calories like at home workouts at the gym, because because usually when I'm, in a regular work week, like I might rush to the gym and get 45 minutes in 3-4 times a week maximum, just to and yeah, it's weights and things, so it's a good gym session. But here, like, I can wake up early in the morning and have like a walk on my treadmill, and that's my morning set, and then I can do some lunchtime press ups or something, and then another session in the evening. So overall, my routine is, again, it's the same with my diet, like quite stable and quite consistent, which is nice. So yeah, and I understand you have some slides for us to share, which we can't wait to see. But just for the viewers at home, just tell us what the main takeaway, I think, what they can most look forward to learning from you from this session. What is like the main thing that you want to share with them about nutrition and dieting during this time? I'm sure there's lots, but if you were to sum it up, what do you think is like the main lesson that you want to share with our viewers today?
So I think the main thing is just very key basic things that I want them to understand when it comes to eating right. I don't really believe in diets. Yeah, there is no such thing as a diet. And even though if there is a diet, it will not be the same diet for everybody. There's no one size fits all diet out there. So it's really diet would be a temporary measure, I would say, to achieve something. And then you need to sustain that way of eating or that style of eating for the rest of your life, because it doesn't make sense to stick onto something that you can't sustain throughout the rest of your life just to be in a certain state. Yeah, so that's the main key takeaway. I'll be sharing the fundamentals when it comes to eating right, and then I'll be giving a lot of tips and tricks. So over there, in terms of tips and tricks, it all depends on the questions from you guys. Yeah, the more questions you ask me, the more details you want, I'm here to give it out for free. So yeah, keep this. Do keep the questions coming. Do share as well. That kind of thing, because we want to give out as much value as possible here.
Yes, thank you, Kit. And that's a very good point for everyone watching. This is completely free, of course, so make the most of it. Ask as many questions as you can. I know that I have quite a few already, which we'll come to, I think, after Kit has given his presentation and shown us through his slides. But I have a couple of questions on diet, because I personally have a condition, which we'll go into later, which is often dealt with in a very prescribed diet-based way. And so I would like very much to understand a bit more about how you say it's one size does not fit all, and what works for some might not work for others. And so it's all about finding your personal relationship with what works for you. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. So yes, viewers, please ask questions. We are receiving comments on the Facebook group directly, and we can show them on screen. So if you have any really good questions, I will show up here so that we can discuss them. So think about anything you want to know about diet, nutrition, eating well, good habits, simple recipes. I'm sure Kit has a few good ideas for like simple things you can do at home, and so on. But I think for now, without further ado, please, Kit, I understand you have some things you want to share. So if you can bring those up, we can share them on the screen, and I'll let you take the stage.
Right. So can everyone see the screen?
Everyone can see the screen now, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So thanks for the introduction, Jacob. A little thing that most people do not know here, yeah. So I just want to share this, that whatever I've been through in my past, like being into the fitness, into the modeling, entertainment scene, there's a thing that people do not realize, that I'm actually holding a full-time job, and I work in a MNC company, okay? And I've been working there for almost 12 years already, yeah? And other than that, I am actually a certified nutrition medicine practitioner as well, under the Association of Nutrition Medicine Practitioner Malaysia. And I have a fitness background and fitness certification knowledge as well. So I believe that with this background, I actually combine it and most importantly, apply on myself. And so I've been helping my family members and friends to achieve this big state so far, yeah. I don't really have any clients that I do personal training with, but I actually do consult when it comes to nutrition, medicine, and as well as health matters. which I will share towards the end of the session. All right. Now, first thing, when it comes to eating, we all know that we need to eat to survive, of course, and I like to use this term called eating right. Now, eating right meaning that it's not a diet, but it's about eating the right thing. Everybody needs to eat the right thing, and number one, eating right thing that you need to really focus and aim to eat more of is actually protein. Yeah, for this is a very simple fact. You know that by the time we hit 30 years old, and then after 30 years old, every decade after that, we will inevitably lose about 3 to 5% of our muscle mass every decade. So one of the very key macronutrients that is needed to actually sustain or even build up muscle mass is no other than protein. But talking about muscle aside, you need protein every day for your rejuvenation, for your recovery. All of your organs, your kidney, your liver actually requires protein. The enzyme requires protein. Your hormone requires protein as well to actually reproduce. Yeah, and it's a very essential macronutrient that we need to actually prioritize. So here's the thing that when it comes to eating right, everyone should eat at least roughly 20 to 40 grams per meal. Yeah. So it should be also the staple thing that comes to mind when the moment you say you want to eat. When you're hungry, your actually stomach actually secretes this gastric juice, and that's a signal to your body to say that I'm lacking of protein, I'm craving for protein, please feed me protein. So the moment when you wake up, if you are feeling hungry, yeah, from your sleep, from your fasted state, you are feeling hungry, you want to feed it protein. So that should be the first thing that you need to feed it. Okay. And another thing is I like to share this very important concept is you try to rotate your protein. So you don't want to eat chicken breast every single day. A typical bodybuilder, they think that just to be in shape, they need to take like chicken breast and broccoli, day in, day out. But that's totally against what I practice and I preach. I think that you need to actually have a different variety of protein because one thing is consuming the same protein day in, day out will tend to shift you towards a certain intolerance towards that protein later on. Meaning after taking chicken breast for 3 months down the road every single day, you will develop an intolerance towards it. And when you get intolerance towards it, you notice that after eating the chicken breast, you may feel that you tend to bloat a lot, you tend to actually maybe even have diarrhea, maybe even have a lot of fasting. These are all signs that can manifest due to the fact that you are intolerant to a certain protein. So my suggestion is never repeat the same protein all the time. Try to rotate it. All right. Now, third thing is this is a very important thing, especially right now when MCO is, MCO is, we are in a state of MCO. Is we try to always go for good quality food, which is ideally organic, wild caught, and non-grill. You don't want it to be too grilled as well. Because when you grill the food, you actually damage the protein in it, right? And a lot of toxic ingredients also will be there. Yeah, like the AGEs and all and so on. Okay, so basically you want to actually prioritize and try to aim for that. Yes, no doubt it's a bit more expensive, but there is a appreciation that you will eventually feel when you eat good quality food. For example, if you were to taste the difference and the distinction between a grass-fed beef and a grain-fed beef, the grass-fed beef, the real grass-fed beef actually tastes very much better. So once you develop the taste buds towards good quality food, it's like it just expands that part of you, then you will start to appreciate food even more because naturally we are meant to eat things which are also pretty natural. All right. So, for example, I eat out most of the time, and what surprises people when it comes to my diet is I actually managed to hit below 10% body fat without any form of calories or macros calculation or even home cooking. Yeah, because the fact that I hold a full-time job, I'm always on the go. I need to move around here and there before this MCO thing. All this while in my life, in my whole years of working, I actually rely a lot on outside food. So one very good thing is Nando's. I'm not promoting Nando's. I don't get paid a cent to say it. But why I say it because it's a very common restaurant that you can find in almost all the malls. Yeah, and even now in the Grab delivery there is as well. And I will go for a plain Nando's. I will go for a two grilled veggie. I will specifically request them not to overburn the veggies. You know, the black part, the charred grilling, those are the part that you want to avoid, whether it's in a meat or whether it's in a vegetable. So that's my request to them. Yeah. So that's what I have. More about Nando's later. Another thing is sometimes you go to the Japanese restaurant, go for things like squid. Squid is actually one of the lowest inflammation food out there. Mackerel is tasty as well. However, there may be a soy sauce, but you know, I would rather you go for a mackerel with a bit of the soy sauce rather than eating some other things, yeah, like rice or noodles, because eventually you are aiming for protein still, and yeah, a bit of the soy sauce is not going to make much uh, damaging effect compared to a bowl of noodles or rice, right? And this is the duck as well. I do have a roast duck once in a while when I go out, alongside with other kind of meat, of course, chicken, fish, beef, and so on. Okay, now as I mentioned earlier, duck is actually a good choice of protein. Yeah, duck is actually better than chicken. Chicken would tend to be higher in arsenic. Yeah, because they feed on the most toxic grains out there, which is rice actually, and that's actually high in arsenic. Right. So this is an example of how I actually validate certain things when we go out there. As consumer, you guys have rights to actually ask the restaurant, ask the even you can even email the supplier or whatever company that you're buying the meat from and ask them if your source of your meat is actually hormone free, antibiotic free, and free of how are they being fed up. So I emailed this to Nando's in 2016, and they actually confirmed that they are actually following all the regulations. And I actually even further correspond from this email, but I didn't include it here. They actually even is willing to show to me how is their chicken bred in the farm and how it is being delivered into the shop and cooked. So these are the kind of details and extent that you can go into, right? Okay, we talk about proteins. The next thing I want to talk about is fats. You need to prioritize fats because people think that fat make you fat, but that's the whole paradigm, whole mindset, and it's all made famous because of this person called Dr. Ansel Keys. But honestly, he has actually skewed the findings of the study, and he showed that actually fat causes cardiovascular and heart disease. But in reality, it does not. Yeah, and it has been proven. Cholesterol has been lifted off as one of the dangerous things that we need to actually factor off when we come to consume with our food, because whatever we consume from our food is only producing about 5% or so contribution into the cholesterol production. Our body will generally know how to produce the cholesterol from the other kind of things that we eat. All right. So in terms of speaking of that, the main thing that's what always people concern of and people worry about, which is fat, but that's not true, because right now even keto diet has been shown to be one of the good diet that you can actually implement to even lose fat and even for health purposes. All right, such as people who are on who are having cancer, they can go on a ketogenic diet. Okay, now firstly of all, when it talks about fat, these are my definitely no-nos. Yeah, no-nos because these are very bad fats. They are easily oxidized and easily damaged. When you consume them, you will actually have this damage as well. To avoid these fats at all costs. Yeah, things like canola oil, soy oil, margarine. That's why I don't really fancy mama because they tend to use a lot of margarine. Yeah, although it may taste very nice, but it's actually very damaging and it's high in the trans fat as well. Right. Now for cooking purpose, like Jacob, you mentioned, you know, cooking. So what you guys will want to probably take note of is perhaps you can try to use this thing called extra virgin coconut oil if you're not already using it. But some people do not like that coconut taste too much. Then go for palm kernel oil. Now, palm kernel oil is different than palm oil because palm kernel oil is more expensive. They actually extract out the oil from the kernel of the or the seed of the palm fruit itself, and that's actually a very high quality oil. It's also very high in medium chain triglycerides, just like the virgin coconut oil. So medium chain triglycerides are a special kind of oil which is metabolized very differently in the human body. when you take those kind of oils, it actually helps your body to actually burn fat as fuel. Right? So people who take virgin coconut oil and they actually eliminate all other oils, it has been shown that they can actually lose body fat with that. And same with the palm kernel oil as well. It has that same property. Butter is a very it's a saturated fat. It's very stable. Use grass-fed butter. Like I said, ingredients. I mean the quality of the source of food matters. So use grass-fed butter, and you can use that to cook your food. You can also use the organic animal fats to cook the food as well as ghee. If you want to light fry your food, use this kind of oils like flaxseed, sesame seed, rice bran oil, avocado oil, grapeseed oil. Not a problem. And here's the thing: virgin olive oil you should not use for cooking. The right way is to really just drizzle over your salad and all, right? And same as well with pumpkin seed oil. Pumpkin seed oil actually tastes delicious. It tastes a bit like peanut butter, I find it, and it's really very nice. So all these are the kind of varieties of oil that you can add to the food, and it's so good and nutritious. But you need to really know how to use it right. Always remember that you want to store your oils in a sealed container. Ideally, don't store it in plastic. Store it in something inert like a glass bottle, and you want to keep it away from high heat or sunlight exposure, warm temperature, because oil can be very easily oxidized and damaged. So that's about the rules when you want to remember when it comes to oil. And here's the tip, guys. You know, when I go out to eat in certain restaurants, I actually do carry a small bottle of oil, like a small bottle of extra virgin coconut oil, and I can actually request the restaurant that for the meat, can you actually cook using my coconut oil? Yeah. And it's actually better because sometimes I do not know what oil that the restaurant use. Some restaurants they actually state that very clearly that they use coconut oil to cook their food, and that's a good thing, I think. But not every restaurant do that. You do not know what oil, and if you do not know what oil, you can always just request for them to use your oil. So that's another tip in terms of how I manage to get my fats right. Right. Now, last but not least, carbohydrates. So everybody always think that we need to eat our carbs. Okay, carbs is very conditional, I would say. Most people here today in this whole world is consuming too much carbs, and they actually term this as a standard American diet. Now, the standard American diet is not just only talking about America, because in Malaysia, we are also, in a way, practicing that. When you go out for breakfast, what do we normally have? Roti canai, roti telur, mee hoon, nasi lemak. Don't you think there's a lot of carbs in it? One nasi lemak has a bowl of rice, and then maybe a small piece of chicken, sambal, cucumber, and then some nuts and anchovies, and that's about it. But predominantly, it's at least more than 50% carbs, right? So they are always on a state of taking too much carbs, and you see, what happens is our blood sugar level will always generally tend to be higher due to this fact that we are continuously consuming carbs. Yeah, on the weekends, we go out with our friends, we have pizza, we have cakes, we have desserts. Now, prolonging this effect for a period of time, yeah, will eventually cause elevated blood glucose level to constantly rise, and our insulin level is a response towards this blood glucose level. And what happens is insulin is a storage hormone, and it actually makes us develop this thing called insulin resistance, because the fact that insulin is continuously being sparked off to actually cope with these glucose levels due to the carb consumption constantly, right? And when you are insulin resistant, that's when slowly you will see things like you no longer be able to lose weight that easily. You tend to actually accumulate fat as you grow older. Yeah. And then you will see that in the body composition scan, your body fat actually increase. And that's not a good sign. And eventually, that is called a term which most people are in, is called insulin resistance. Yeah. And when you're insulin resistance, that's actually the precursor to type 2 diabetes, which will eventually happen to a lot of people as they approach 50s or even earlier. Yeah. So this is the condition that is going on in the world today. And mainly you can say it's the overconsumption of carbohydrates. And it has got to do a lot with our culture as well. But we don't really need this. Okay. So I would say that in my practice, this is how I assess someone whether they deserve their carbs or not. Firstly, there's two ways to check it out. One is a bioprint, which is you just look at the back, fat levels at the back of your scalp. Yeah. If it's the reading shows more than 10, that means you are not insulin sensitive, you don't deserve your carbs. You should cut off all your carbs, temporarily increase your muscle mass, and do some other lifestyle modifications until you are able to achieve that insulin sensitivity back. Then you introduce your carbs back, and at the same time, the lifestyle has to still be sustained by training and building up that muscle mass, because carbs does help with creating and building muscle mass, okay? But it needs to be earned and deserved, all right? So that's my view and my take on it. And in terms of the in-body result, in-body is just used to gauge your body composition. How much percentage body fat are you having, and how much muscle mass you're having. Someone with high muscle mass and low body fat, they are generally insulin sensitive, okay? So the trick is, this is exactly what I've explained to you guys. Yeah, your carbohydrate that you consume, your insulin will be produced by your pancreas. Less than 10% of your pancreas is only producing the insulin to actually take off and lift off this glucose in your blood levels by shuffling it into three main things, which is your muscle, your fat, or your liver. If you are insulin sensitive, most of the glucose will be stored in your muscle mass, right? So you see people like myself who can take carbohydrates and can actually get a full muscular look, right? And there are people who are insulin resistant where the more carbs they take, the fatter they become. So that's one thing you want to take note of. Someone who actually knows how to really fully utilize this technique, where they can eat a lot of carbs and they don't put on body fat. Perfect example here is The Rock, and you can see how he posts. He has a cheat meal every Sunday, and the amount he eats actually scares a lot of people. Yeah, the amount I eat as well scares a lot of people. But the fact is, we can eat all this amount. Like the cheat meal I have ice cream, I have three pieces of cakes, and then chocolate and all that kind of thing. That's fine, considering the fact that your body is able to metabolize it so well. So that's the technique and the manipulation that you need to be able to do. Okay, if you want to deserve all this. So lastly now, once you keep all this in check, get your protein right, get your fats right, and know how to control your carbs right. The next thing is just about the healthy snacks. So this is where we talk about when we say about cravings and binging. So in terms of snacks, right, if we were to make good choice of snacks, this is some of the choice of snacks that I would strongly recommend to most people. Number one is you want to include fats in your snacks. Yeah, and why you want to include fats is because it helps to suppress and curb those appetites so that you won't actually go on binging. Okay, and to do that, this is one very simple hack. Try to have your black coffee added with this fats, the day one fats, I'll call it. Okay, you can use the virgin coconut oil, which is easily available in a lot of pharmacies and food shops. Yeah, palm kernel oil as well, even grass-fed butter. It tastes really well when you blend the butter together with your coffee and you drink it. It helps to actually make you full, sustain energy as well. You can have that as the first drink in the morning for those who like rushing for work. They don't have time for breakfast and they only can eat like later on in the day. Go ahead and have your black coffee with fats. Yeah, have some meat and avocados. Avocados is actually one of the fruit that can help you really feel full. This is one of my snacks. I just ordered in the shop chicken breast and avocado I bought from direct roaster next door. I just told them to slice it for me so that I can eat it together. And this can actually keep me full for very long hours. All right. Among all the nuts, pine nuts is number one when it comes to help to cut off those cravings and appetites. Yeah, it keeps you satiated. And there are other supplements as well, which I shared on my Insta story yesterday. So L-glutamine gives you a very calming effect. It helps to heal leaky gut as well as any people with gut issues. It works wonders on them. And most people actually have a gut issue already, at least 90% of the population, I would say, due to the fact that all this processed food that contains artificial flavorings and sweeteners and ingredients and all actually causes our gut integrity to be affected, and L-glutamine helps to heal it. Right, so it's one of the supplements that you can take it. Hospitals in UK give it to the patients after a traumatic surgery or any kind of accident or what, because it's actually anti-catabolic as well. For people who are like doing a lot of strenuous exercise, they are training 2-3 times a day, they can go on it as well. Right. And lastly, HCA, which is hydroxytric acid, it actually is a ingredient found in the fruit. Yeah, and that actually is actually a natural ingredient that helps to curb the appetite. So that's about it here. Okay. Yeah, I have another slide which is mainly about gluten and dairy, avoiding processed food, processed meat, and sauces. So in general, you want to actually have this form of eating. All right.
Fascinating. Well, Kit, thank you very, very much. Some very interesting points for discussion, and we've got some great questions from the viewers too, which we'll share in a minute. And definitely some questions from me, because a lot of what you spoke about was quite relevant to the condition that I mentioned. See, I'm actually a type 1 diabetic, you see, so I actually manage my insulin requirements entirely manually. You know, these two pens right here are my pancreas. And so I've been exposed to a lot of different sort of nutritional concepts and ideas regarding diet and nutritional prescription and so on. Especially because for diabetes, it's typically said that carbs are the enemy. You know, like you must avoid all of these carbs and sugars. But for example, what a really good comment we've got here, which I'll show you, is that choosing 3rd or 4th types of carb, which I believe are referring to sort of whole grain and complex carbohydrates, correct? Which have a lower glycemic index. So you'll feel full for longer, and it will better balance your blood sugar. It won't create as many spikes in your insulin, which over time then becomes more difficult for your body to manage. Because one point you just mentioned, which was really good, was about the culture here and about the types of food we eat. Now, there's no denying that Malaysia has the best food in the world, right? Hands down. There's absolutely no argument there. Malaysian cuisine is far and away the best out there. It's just amazing. However, we can't ignore the fact that what makes our food so good is also what makes it so bad. You know, a lot of it is cooked in a lot of oil, a lot of butter, a lot of fat. And when you look at the culture of having white rice, which is very starchy, very sugary, you know, white rice with boiled in coconut milk, which is extremely fatty. When you look at the culture of having that for breakfast every day, it's no wonder that, unfortunately, Malaysia is now the most diabetic nation in Southeast Asia, I believe.
Exactly.
So what kind of simple, I mean, you touched on a few then in your slides. So what kind of simple switches can we make? Say, for example, because like going out for food here is much more than just going out for a meal. It's the culture around sitting, you know, around the table with your friends and chilling with your teh tarik and your roti and whatever. What kind of decisions can we make, or what choices can we make for like simple switches when we're going out for these kind of meal times when it comes to sort of local food? Is there anything that you can advise us on in that regard?
Yes, definitely. So these are the things that I advise my parents as well to do, because my dad actually is a type 2 diabetes, and my mom is already pre-diabetes, yeah, due to the fact that they always consume a lot of the carbs and they are also not young. Alongside, I have the diabetes gene myself. So it runs in the family, and a lot of people may have that gene as well. So the best way to actually cope with that is to make smarter carb choices. So type 3, type 4 is definitely one of them. Type 3 refers to fiber, in particular, fiber which can be found in dark green vegetables, as well as beans, seeds, nuts. And type 4 carbohydrates, which is the complex carbohydrates like the yam, sweet potato, tapioca, yeah, those kinds of root vegetables, they are actually more suitable to replace with rice or anything else that is refined, like mashed potatoes or even potatoes itself. Because potatoes does disintegrate quickly and it actually raises up the blood glucose levels, unlike sweet potato, which is actually slower in terms of release of this glucose. So these are the alternative choices when it comes to carb choices, right? And also another thing is temporarily there is actually no harm in just cutting off carbs. Because one thing I actually do in my practice is to actually introduce this thing called metabolic flexibility concept, which means you can teach your body to know how to actually burn fats when it needs to burn fat and burn carbs when it has carbs. So you can actually switch very versatile, very agile as well. And this is a very good thing that you if you can have it, because it allows you to actually really lose fat when you need to lose fat, and actually able to tolerate all of this nice, delicious food out there in Malaysia as well. I never restrict myself to, ice cream or my favorite nasi lemak as well. I do take them occasionally, but it's not going to make my body fat higher, even though if I take it 3 days in a row. Yeah. But the fact that I don't, yeah. So you are able to.
You're earning it too, of course. You have to earn it and burn it, basically.
Correct.
Or burn
So
it.
burning it, that's where the metabolic flexibility concept comes in, which is a level a bit higher than just thinking of calories out versus calories in. Of course, you can burn it through exercise, but honestly, again, not many people can exercise too much sometimes due to work commitments or family or what, right? But when you eat right, theoretically, when you eat right, if you follow the right eating protocols, some people actually will be able to just lose that body fat, and they will see a certain change in terms of hormonally and also neurologically, just by eating right. And that's why the nutrition medicine practice that I am doing actually prescribe on. We actually address this kind of thing just through nutrients, lifestyle, and diet modifications. So Jacob, you mentioned something very interesting earlier, that you are a type 1 diabetes. I didn't know about it. Yeah.
I thought
it's
it
quite
was a
good because
surprise on you.
yeah, I want to share you a publication of a case study did by the person that I actually learned nutrition medicine from. So he actually treated a type 1 diabetes patient who was on insulin jab, and just from giving him nutrients, eventually he moved away from the jab. So it's a very interesting case study. I'll share with you. There's a lot of reference there as well. Yeah. So we can actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting quite sick of the jab. I'm getting used to it, but yeah, if anything that could take me off the injections would be great. It's like that. It's like that saying. Really, you really are what you eat. If you fill your body with junk food and processed food and refined sugars and starch and things, of course, your body and eventually your mind, neurologically, as you said, will respond to that. So it's very important to keep like many whole foods in your diet, and a whole meal, complex carbohydrates, allowing your body a chance to have, allowing this may be a strange way of saying it, but allowing your body to have a better relationship with itself in terms of what it's digesting and what you're putting through it, and it works wonders for. It really does work wonders for your mental health, even in the short term. You feel better when you eat right, So let's look through a few more of these comments here. We've had a couple of good ones.
There's one more thing, Jacob.
One person
looking through the comments, I want to share as well, because you mentioned a very good point in terms of about the mental health. So you see, we generally will get very addicted and crave and develop all this kind of thing towards a certain food, and that's normal, yeah. Especially when it comes to processed food or certain things which taste really good. Sometimes we can even develop emotional ties with that food as well, due to certain incidents or what. Yeah, but the thing is this, right? The fact that when you combine sweet food together with fats, it tends to generally cause a lot of the dopamine release. And this dopamine release gives us that dopamine high. We feel good, all right? We feel really, it tastes so nice. It's so good, and then it keeps us wanting more, and it's very addictive. All right. Now to break through that spell, what we want to do is, if you actually try to cut off sugar for a certain period of time, eventually you'll be able to get better and not get too addicted to it anymore. And you want to actually have this be in this state as well, because when you can be in control, that you can control yourself from overindulging in all this food, you are in control. You will be able to withstand and resist all of this temptation and cravings. And even though when you have those, you can actually really feel that, yeah, it's nice, but I can control it and I can step away from it after I get up. And that's a very good sign. It means that you have already achieved a very good form of mastery. You never restrict yourself. You still enjoy and you still eat. You still have laughter with your friends and enjoy over a movie, eating on popcorns, celebrating birthdays and all those kind of things. But you do not feel guilty. You do not feel bad. You feel, in fact, you feel good, and you feel that you are in control. So that's the state that you want to achieve, and it can be achieved by practicing the diet I just shared. The fact that you always prioritize protein and you eat protein first thing in the morning, in general, you already are shifting that neurotransmitter to actually make you to make better food decision choices throughout the rest of the day. So what you put into your stomach first actually matters, and it actually keeps you focused as well. Yeah.
Sets the tone for the rest of the day. Yeah, exactly. And this sounds very extreme, but it's actually maybe a good comparison is that sometimes, and certainly how I find it, it's just like quitting sugar is like quitting smoking in many ways, because there is that element of addiction to it. Like you said, when you have high sugary foods combined with fat, like donuts, for example, this is why donuts taste so good, is that they create this physical neurological sensation in your body, which tells you that I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is eating a donut. And so you have to, certainly when I was diagnosed with type 1, almost overnight, I had to like relieve myself of my sweet tooth. And I had a sweet tooth, seriously, but I had good metabolism as a kid. I didn't put on much weight. And so I used to eat just sweets and chocolate and biscuits all the time. Thought I was getting away with it. And then it turned out I was actually type 1 diabetic. And so just like that, I had to switch up my diet, really sort of change my eating habits and change my relationship with food. But then, like you said, after a while of doing that, and it wasn't that long, maybe honestly just a couple of weeks of just eating really sensibly, I found that I was enjoying, I was able to take just as much enjoyment from sweet foods, but a much smaller amount. And now, like, I really like dark chocolate, like very dark chocolate, for example, gives me the same dopamine kick as like sugary candy used to do, so it's tough, but it is possible. There's one question here on the diabetic front, which is interesting, asking about fructose and fructose not raising insulin levels. Is it still suitable for diabetic patients?
Oh, this is a very good
what are your thoughts on
this? Is a so good question. Oh, this is a very tricky thing. Okay, if you realize a lot of commercial products out there, they say that, this is suitable for diabetes because, it doesn't raise the glucose level. But if you look at the ingredients there, it shows that they have a lot of fructose in it. So that's the thing you would still want to avoid. In fact, this is the ranking I would classify in terms of the type 1 carbohydrates, which is the monosaccharides. So first of all, you have the glucose, as the one that is primarily used by all the cells in our body, including our brain cells. And the second type of monosaccharide is the fructose. Now, fructose comes from fruits, and it's a fruit sugar, we call it, all right? There is also a high fructose corn syrup, which is come in the soft drink. But when you talk about fructose, it's actually worse than glucose, yeah? It's actually at least easily 2 to 4 times worse compared to glucose, simply because of the fact that it behaves and reacts very differently in the human body. Firstly, fructose is directly goes into your liver, and it taxes the liver, and it causes fatty liver as well if you're taking it in excess amount. All right. And another thing is fructose actually create 50% more triglycerides in your blood, which means 50% more blood fat. So that's fructose. All right. And fructose doesn't has no physiological use in the human body. So that's why the liver is the one that is getting burdened when you consume fructose. So definitely, you don't want to damage your liver. Yeah, although you won't see an increase in blood glucose level, but it's going to cause other damage as well. And the fact that it actually increased the triglycerides, and that is even worse indicator compared to looking at other kind of cholesterol marker, because triglyceride is actually extremely damaging. It actually causes a lot of blood clotting, and yeah, you know that diabetics patients, so 80% of them actually die from a heart attack, and that's simply because of definitely triglyceride is one of the areas that we will assess when you look at blood marker. So those should be something that you need to consider.
Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by fructose, basically, and don't be don't get carried away with the fact that it might not rise insulin levels, but there is a lot of other things, a lot of other considerations at play, which is happening in the body. Yeah. On there, another comment here. It's kind of a same but different note, and that is we have a user here asking about low-fat mayonnaise, and I say same but different because the question about fructose was asking about it as an alternative, and is it suitable for diabetic patients? Now, in my experience and what I've learned, and correct me if I'm wrong here or give me your thoughts on this, but when it comes to low-fat alternatives or any brand which pushes itself as low calorie, low fat, low reduced sugar, they look great on the packaging and they're going to stand out on the shelves as something which people who are looking to lose weight should choose. But you often find, at least especially in like the very branded items, is that what they do to make it low fat, or rather to make it still tasty while low fat, means they add a whole bunch of other stuff in the product which you should which is worse for you than the original version in many ways. So like you're sacrificing one thing, but you're introducing a whole load of other things into the diet, which you shouldn't, which you probably shouldn't. Is that what are your thoughts on substitutes and alternatives and things like that?
I totally agree with you, Jacob. So it's a form of food company that is trying to manipulate certain things. So you must always remember that. Remember I told you earlier about the history. So that was about somewhere in, if I'm not mistaken, in the 1970s, where Dr. Ansel Keys was the guy who actually popularized the low-fat diet. He said that fat causes cardiovascular diseases, and it's something that we need to cut off. So it's trend. Everyone actually think that fat is bad. Cut off butter, stop taking butter, and all that kind of things. But the truth is, fat is not bad. Yeah, so that's why right now, in this age, people are actually more aware and educated, and science has proven that fat is not the culprit here. Okay, and they actually say carbs, right? So the reason why all these commercial products emphasize on low fat is they are just trying to build on that trend. Okay, but now the trend is shifting, and here's a very important thing is, I said there's no one size fits all. Yeah, to me, fats has great properties. It's actually anti-catabolic as well. It's actually essential for our hormonal health, our brain, our peak performance. A lot of peak performers out there, they know how to rely on fats, but that doesn't mean they cut off carbs as well. Some actually still need carbs. Like for example, like right now, I do need carbs because with the volume training that I'm doing, the volume training depletes the glycogen stores from the muscles, and you want to actually build up muscles, you actually need carbs. Don't get me wrong, yeah. I'm not saying carbs is bad. There's no good or bad. It's only thinking. Yeah, this is what Albert Einstein said. There's no good or bad. It's only a different way of thinking. Okay, so you need to know what is right for you and what is suitable, and it depends. All start with the self. Start with your state. When you assess yourself, you see. You know very well, Jacob, you are type 1 diabetes. You are pretty much aware of your body from that aspect. But many people do not know that they are even on the path towards insulin resistance. They do not even know, some of them don't even know that they are really type 2 diabetes. Yeah, I have a colleague who just went for his medical checkup and he's just been told by the doctor that he's a type 2 diabetes. He didn't even know. So you need to always have this check done, this assessment done. Yeah. How is your cortisol levels? Some people don't even know that they are really highly stressed out, and the fact that they cannot lose those fat is because of the highly stressful state they are in. They may have a fungal infection, which causes them to even have cravings issue. Yeah, fungal infection actually even makes you crave for more sugary stuff, because it's like, think of it like some organism in there which is actually causing yeah. So you need to have all these assess. Yeah, and the blood works is definitely one of the ways that I can look into it, to actually see in terms of the person's hormonal health, his current liver, kidney function, and also other blood markers as well, including cancer tumors, which all plays a role when you want to prescribe a certain customized, unique diet to someone.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think so that brings us on to there. We've got 5 minutes left, and there's one series of questions with Ramadan coming up, which would be very relevant. So we'd like to finish on that. But we touched on just now people not knowing, basically just not knowing their bodies as well as they could or possibly should. So we've had this one question: how do we know if we are moving towards insulin sensitivity or resistance? And if we are resistant, what can we do to improve that? So getting things tested is one stop, but on a day-to-day level, in terms of your eating habits and so on, how can you revert, or not reverse as such, how can you limit and improve your body's response to storing glucose as glycogen in muscles rather than fat?
So you want to actually, as I mentioned earlier, one of the supplements, which is hydrocitric acid, tends to actually shift it to glycogen storage instead of raising it to blood glucose levels. But you don't want to rely on supplements for the rest of your life, and you don't want to depend on it. Supplements are there is just to actually help you, all right? It doesn't replace or take over fundamentally your diets, okay? So that's one thing you need to bear in mind. Now, to know whether you're insulin sensitive or resistant, it's very simple. I actually shared a IGTV video on my Instagram. You can, and my Facebook page, you can actually check it out. There are mainly 3 ways to determine it. But another very simple way is, if you are insulin resistant, basically you can already see it in terms of the signs that you are facing from your blood glucose level. So this is a glucometer, all right? You can actually, I've been doing this for 3 to 4 years. I actually prick myself.
I have mine too.
Level, yeah. And there's another one called Dexcom, Jacob. Not sure if you've heard of it, but the one you attach here, and it's continuous glucose monitoring. Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, they're unavailable in Malaysia right now. They're quite
in Singapore, the library is available, but the one is you actually patch it here, and it actually gives continuous glucose monitoring. So you can actually check your fasting glucose. That's one way to see if you are insulin resistant. Because if you are tend to having high blood glucose, high blood sugar, and how high is high, anything above 8.0 is very high already, I would say, especially after fasting glucose, or even after a meal with carbs. If you are seeing anything like 8, 9, 10, be super cautious about it, because that's probably on the verge of not really your insulin resistance. Yeah,
that's moving towards hyperglycemia. Yes, of course. Okay. And by the way, just quickly before we wrap up, for our viewers at home, we're going to be sending out a survey and the comments underneath the Facebook post, which will include some information on Kit's fully comprehensive nutritional consultation, where he looks at everything from like blood work, as I said, to physiology, and even the subcap test. It'll be a completely thorough examination of you, and also a consultation and assessment of your nutritional goals and your general wellness and health objectives. But to wrap up, like I said, so with Ramadan around the corner, we've got a couple of very good questions here related to fasting. Both when it comes to intermittent fasting as a form of health wellness, but also generally, given that Ramadan is starting soon, what is it you would recommend in order to, so we touched on, for example, feeling fuller for longer, by eating the right kind of complex carbohydrates. What other tips or advice do you have for those about to start fasting for Raya?
Yeah, I'm going to go and do a video on intermittent fasting and Ramadan. Probably will do that in the coming few days. So be sure to check it out on my social media postings. But for now, I can say that Ramadan is a good opportunity to really practice the intermittent fasting concept and to actually teach your body to become metabolic flexible, as what I was mentioning earlier. You can actually, if you have some body fat that you want to burn, you can actually utilize this period and switch it to burn body fat by choosing the right food choices. So for fats, just look at virgin coconut oil, extra virgin coconut oil fats, palm kernel butter, or even butter as your source of fats. You want to just probably aim for these three types of fats. But first, if you want to spend a bit more, you can actually invest in oil called MCT oil or brain octane oil, because the brain octane oil and MCT oil are more contains higher amount of the medium chain triglycerides, which would actually helps the body in terms of metabolizing fats. Yeah. So you want to use all of the oils during this period when you eat your food. As usual, you need protein. So during your once a meal day, you want to aim to hit your protein goal intake for that day. How to calculate this? Very simple. If you are someone who's training in a gym and have a certain amount of muscle mass, you want to multiply that amount of muscle mass that you have in your body times 2, and that amount in grams would be the amount of protein that you need to have per day. All right, aim to hit that protein requirement, and then the rest of the macronutrients, just aim for the fats. Like I said, for virgin coconut oil, palm kernel butter, and also perhaps butter, you can just aim for those. If you want to advance and accelerate it, go for MCT oils. Okay, now MCT oils you can't eat together with the food, of course, because it doesn't taste very well. You can cook the food with palm kernel oil, palm kernel butter oil, but then you can have it 1-2 teaspoons with MCT oil as well, and that actually gives you energy. All right, so you can actually just have this kind of thing. In terms of avocados, feel free to have it as well. In terms of carbohydrates, just restrict. Your body will, in a way, know how to eventually switch and turn to burn those fats for energy and help you to even lose fat further. And another supplement that you may want to include is the omega-3 oils, yeah, EPA, DHA. EPA will actually knock down your triglyceride levels, which is your blood fat levels. And when your blood fat levels is low, and you're not relying on any carbs, you are just having one meal a day, only having high amount of protein and all of those good fats, you will burn fat like nothing, I can tell you. Within 1 month, you will see the results. Even though if you don't gym, just by eating this way, guarantee you lose body fat. Yeah. But very important, yeah, you want to make sure your bile flow is also working correctly. So for that, again, the blood works. You can actually see whether how well are you in digesting fat. Because some people have bile flow obstruction, meaning that they don't digest fat that well. Suddenly you introduce fat, your fat actually is not going to help you and is going to cause more damage. So make sure that your bile flow is working smoothly, your liver is moving smoothly, everything is functioning well. Then you actually will be able to handle this thing better. And again, you do that through a simple blood work.
Interesting. Okay, well, there you have it, everybody. So use this fasting month as an opportunity to manipulate your metabolic body work, your metabolic rate and whatnot, and response. So you use this as an opportunity. Don't see the fasting month as restrictive or or a period of starvation. Instead, use it to understand your body better and to encourage a better relationship and a healthier relationship overall with your food. So Kit, that's all the time we have for now. So thank you very, very much, first of all, for joining us. It's been a fascinating discussion. I know I've definitely learnt a lot, and I hope the viewers at home have too. And thank you guys for joining us and for sending in your comments. We are recording this video, and it will be posted up on the Facebook group, so you can refer back to it and do your homework and come back to find a lot of the great information that Kit has shared with us. Do check him out on Instagram. His username is on screen now. As he said, he'll be posting up some tips during fasting month, and generally as well. I follow his page, and the content there is excellent. There's a lot of very valuable information for free, so make the most of that and refer back to this video if you need. And Yeah, Kit, so thank you again. Really, really good talk. Great way to kick off ALYFE Connects, our virtual event. And we would love to do this again. I think I could talk for hours about nutrition and diet, to be honest. And I think there's a lot, especially as we touched upon in the culture and the cuisine that we have over here. There's a lot of variables and a lot of decisions to be made. So yeah, for sure. I found this very useful. I hope you enjoyed talking to us. Thank you for your time. And yeah, we'll be sending out a survey with the information on your nutritional consultations. So best of luck. And I hope for those who have been watching at home, like it is a comprehensive review and assessment of your health and your goals, more importantly. So do check out the survey. We'll be sending that out in the comments beneath the video on Facebook.
Thank you, Jacob. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.